Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Amy Twido, and I am the Informal Learning Program Manager for the Seattle Public Library, and I want to welcome you all to this event tonight. Once I make my quick announcements, I will hand things over to our friends at the African American Writers Alliance, and I am so thankful for their partnership on this program. And I want to recognize the incredible work that AWA has done in creating the content for our Summer of Learning poster, available at all of our open libraries and online at that address on the screen, and also for building this program series for the library's Summer of Learning program. If you would like to learn more about the Summer of Learning program, please visit our website at www.spl.org/Summer of Learning. I also want to thank the Seattle Public Library Foundation and all of their donors for their generous support of the Summer of Learning and programs like these. I also want to take a moment to recognize that we are all living on Indigenous land, the traditional and unceded territories of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Duwamish. And with that, I will now hand it over to Noni Irvin with the African American Writers Alliance.
Thank you, Amy. Hello, everyone. My name is Noni Irvin. I am a proud member of the African American Writers Alliance. I will be your MC for this evening. We will have an hour of storytelling, including original work. Then we will have an opportunity for the audience to ask any questions of our storytellers. And then after that, we'll host a writing workshop with writing prompts so that you can explore your own creative side. The chat is open. Please keep it positive and energized, and we appreciate you joining us this evening. Let's begin with some words from one of our organization's charter members, Dr. Georgia Stewart McDade, an all-around champion for Black writers and storytellers everywhere. Some of her published work includes her 4 volumes of poetry called Outside the Cave, as well as Observations and Revelations, which are stories, sketches, and essays. Dr. McDade.
Hello, thank you so much for tuning in. I always want people to know that the African American Writers Alliance is here because when founder Randy Eddins came from California, she could not find a group of African American writers. And so she did what many of us have come to do over the centuries. She made it herself. She founded one, and we are the result of this. So thank you so much for joining us, and check out our website where you'll find other programs all the time. We try to do at least one something a month, and usually we do several somethings a month. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Dr. McDade. Our first poet and storyteller is Minnie A. Collins, award-winning English professor emerita. Minnie is the author of The Purple Wash, Palm Power, Hearts in Harmony, and Seattle's historical Liberty Bank Building Apartments commemorative plaques. Compassion for nature and equity is her mantra. Minnie.
Thank you, Noni and Dr. McDade and the Seattle Public Library and its foundation. Storytelling has always been a part of everybody. Some of them are secrets, some of them are no-nos, some of them are good stories that you want to share with your friends. Storytelling for me comes from my heart, and my heart is always grounded in my Southern experience, growing up with my grandmother in Virginia. My grandmother was called Speck because she expected so much from us. No mess ups, she said. She was a sculptor, a chiseler, a hammer of stone, and these stones were her grandchildren. She was stern but comforting, sculpting us, her grandstones, to be somebody. She chiseled her grand stones to obey the 10 Commandments, Sunday school at 9, church at 10, family dinner at 2, youth service, you got to go back at 7 p.m., no matter what. She hammered those house rules into our heads. You won't believe the rules she laid out for us. And we were middle school, high school, and still following the rules.
Come on.
No playing cards on Sunday. No movies. And you know why? She hated giving us money to go down a little back alley to go upstairs to sit in the top to see the silver screen. We grands thought we had the best seats in the house. We had nobody blocking our view. No blues in this house. That's evil music. No smoking either. Ha ha. But we cowered outside her son's room to listen to the blues and to smell his forbidden joys. Speck even forced us to not date. Good girls don't date unless she really knew the parents and they happened to be just across the street, not across town. School's out at 3 o'clock, better be home by 3:30, and we had no bus. We had to walk. Stay away from that bad street. You know what I mean, up there by that barber shop. Temptations called all of us walking from home. We even tried our own little smokes. Curiosity overruled us sometimes. But no matter what we did, those old watchers, you know what I mean by those watchers on the street, they sent those gossip lines before I got home. But it was worth the risk to be tempted a little bit outside of 3 o'clock. But that preparation for dinner, wow, if you only knew what happened in her house on Saturday night. On Saturday night, it was like a concerto in her kitchen. She poised her wooden spoons for the performance, just like a maestro. Par excellence, she orchestrated onions and dill and garlic, lemon, oranges when available, pecans from her backyard tree, peppers red and black, homemade butter, not that stuff you call margarine, but homemade butter, sugars, flour, and those secret, unspoken pinches of, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a pinch of this. But watching her during her first movement, those spoons swirled and spatulas soothed, the forks tinkle nice mints as mixing bowls chime at rotary decibels. Those cymbals of pots and tops jangling up and down. Then the lively second movement echoes, the glockenspiels of china, crystal, and silver chime as they move from the cabinet shelves to the laminated kitchen table. Ah, the smell of sweet cinnamon on those baked sweet potatoes from a wood-fired oven. Butter-filled mashed potato salad and the chords of snap bean strings, broccoli trumpets and collard kettles, chicken drumsticks and braised peppercorn short ribs. Ah, so satisfied. All those aunts and nieces and cousins that come over on Sunday because they know it's going to be a grand feast. But at the end, there's silence for the hushed and satisfied family, the patrons at the concerto, the finale of fresh picked and hand-peeled peaches folded into a cobbler, topped with hand-churned, old-fashioned hand-churned vanilla ice cream. Stirred the cheers and bravo, bravo to the kitchen maestro for her kitchen concerto. Thank you.
Thank you, Minnie. Oh, let's show Minnie some love. This is how you clap in sign language, or this, or whatever works. Wonderful. All right, our next poet and storyteller is Royat Masi, who navigates the creative world of collective words aimed at the inside of the mind. He has been editing and revamping writings from yesteryear and expanding his events in refining his many creative compositions. Royat.
Hello, and we're grateful to the Seattle Library Foundation and the Seattle Library System for partnering with us in this endeavor. I'm going to read 2 pieces from my Juneteenth series and 1 from my Kwanzaa story. We don't celebrate Juneteenth no more. In the years following the Emancipation Proclamation, Black folks in their local communities celebrated Juneteenth robustly all around the country. Juneteenth was a holiday of jubilation in which Black folks remembered their struggle for freedom and celebrated their connection with their shared history. Surrounded by joy, laughter, and songs, these celebrations were meant both to remember the history of enslavement and to encourage Black folk to continue their fight for their political right. In the first few decades of Juneteenth celebrations, Black folks were celebrating all over, and especially in the states of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. Black folks used the celebration to help search for lost members of their family. Many local newspapers received ads placed by Black people who were ex-slaves. As these Southern Blacks moved out of their region, they took Juneteenth to other areas in the U.S. However, freedom challenges themselves started to lead to a decline in Juneteenth activities and events in the late 1890s to the early 1900s. The traditional practices at home and family taught lessons slowed. Now, state-approved curriculum in classroom textbooks did the education, but stifled the interests of Black youth with less, if any, focus on the details of the lives of former slaves. There were little emphasis on old slave history. America was starting to whitewash the Black enslavement truths from Americans. These factors began a decline in the Juneteenth activities in the early 1900s. Public classrooms of early 1900s taught that slavery ended with Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation and never dealt with the continued enslavement of Black people in Texas and other areas of the U.S. In addition, down south, Black people continued to face intense threat of life, physical violence, and political oppression in the early 1900s, particularly with the resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan in the 1920s. Juneteenth celebrations became quite unwelcome and not tolerated. The Depression forced many people off the farms and into the cities to find work where economic met Black culture, causing a decline in Juneteenth celebration in the early 20th century. The Depression saw Blacks come to the northern and Midwest cities in droves, fresh from the farm with Juneteenth in their songs, to the urban areas holding differences in appreciation for such celebration. The big city bosses had no soft spot in their hearts for Negro celebration. They were even less concerned with any slave talking. The bosses only wanted workers, cheap, hard-working workers. Employees let their Negro workers know that they could celebrate the 4th of July as their independence holiday, the true patriotic American celebration. Even domestic workers had it no better and found themselves working on Juneteenth, making beds with quiet reserve. Additionally, there were no publicly sponsored celebration events and few, if any, news articles. Even the politicians were silent on this Negro stuff, like Juneteenth. Schools' textbooks clearly proclaimed that America was shunning all and any talk about Juneteenth and slavery itself. Juneteenth is alive and well. There's no clean vanilla version of this story. There's no need for tracking dates of U.S. slavery abolishment. There's no need to focus on Mississippi's final approval of the Emancipation Proclamation. There's no poetic piece that can make it easier to emotionally swallow or to be digestively gentle. There's no analysis on how Juneteenth managed through life in American society. There is no foundation except for the old document by Lincoln. There was a downturn in the turn of the century. There was a comeback of Juneteenth to the masses of the U.S. people as the 20th century moved on. There is a good idea of how to do and taste Juneteenth. There are still those old slave songs from the cotton field that have risen up to be spiritual. There's plenty of knowledge on how Juneteenth looked in today's society. There's good measures of dates of the U.S. state holidays, but there's no national holiday that binds us all in the truth of the Juneteenth experience. Juneteenth is alive and well. Kwanzaa Black Eyed Peas. Yep, Black Eyed Peas made it to Kwanzaa. This dish was destined to be part of such an African cultural party experience, especially with a meal like the Kwanzaa Karamu meal. In the early community celebrations, there were welcome traditional African culinary dishes. Kwanzaa Black Eyed Peas. Yep, Black Eyed Peas made it to Kwanzaa. The dish was destined to be a part of such an African cultural party experience, especially with a meal like the Kwanzaa Karamu feast. In the early celebrations, there were welcome African traditional culinary dishes, and they were pretty much mixed with soul food. The Black Eyed Peas were predominantly featured at the center of the table. If you add curry, the two dishes and culinary styles were almost the same. Years ago, down south, if Black Eyed Peas were on the menu, they were served as Hoppin' John. Hoppin' Johns were the black eyed pea and rice dish eaten in the Old South. There, too, was the tradition for this New Year's dish that believed to bring good luck. Now, this dish has become a major dish during the Kwanzaa Karamu feast, celebrated on December 31st, the last eve of Kwanzaa. Since the Kwanzaa celebration ends New Year's Day, it only naturally coincides with the traditional eating of black-eyed peas across Black culture. The traditional dish is normally served with greens, sweet potatoes, rice, and your desired cornbread, hush puppies, or hot water cornbread. I like to add hot sauce to mine. Eating black-eyed peas on New Year's Day has been considered good luck for at least 1,500 years. These peas were eaten in Africa as a staple bean. It is recorded in the Talmud over 500 AD that a portion of black-eyed peas was good for you. It is also a Jewish custom at the time to eat black-eyed peas in celebration of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year's that happens every fall. In the Black Southern states, black-eyed peas are a traditional symbol of the emancipation of previously enslaved Black people, officially freed on New Year's Day after the Civil War. The Kwanzaa Karamu feast is traditionally held on the last eve of Kwanzaa, and celebrant started early. It is a very special event, as it is the one Kwanzaa event that brings us closer to our African roots. The Kwanzaa Karamu feast is a communal and collective effort. Ceremonies and cultural expressions are highly encouraged, and black-eyed peas are at the center of the table for the feast.
Thank you, Royet Masi. Wonderful. Up next is none other than Kabibi Monet. Kabibi is a native of Seattle and the executive and artistic director of New Black Arts West Theater, the oldest African-American theater company in Washington State. Kabibi is Nana, Queen Mother in Ghana, West Africa, Ghana, West Africa. She has worked with Stevie Wonder, Billy Preston, Kenny G, Gladys Knight, Roy Ayers, Hank Crawford, Brenda Holloway, Major Lance, Rufus Chandler, Martha Reeves, Ben Vereen, and Ruby Dee. Ms. Monet is also the founder of the Summer Youth Education, a free program for students 4th to 8th grade and 9th to 12th grade from 2008 till present. Studies include math, science, world history, media literacy, creative writing, and film. Nana Kabibi.
Let us all celebrate the celebration. Let us celebrate our rich heritage of great kings and queens and all of that in between. Those whom with love laid down the foundations for civilizations. We are they and they are we, our relations, our relatives from the beginning until the end. Let our legacy ring out loud and clear because of whom we are and why we're here. Celebrate the fact that we taught the world how to think and pray, not just yesterday, but on and on until today. People today who are considered to be African American are kin, yes, relatives to the first people on this planet. We are the first people to use tools, paint pictures, plant seeds, and worship gods. When the human drama opened, Africans were on the scene and acting out the ceremonies of the first human beings on this planet. So, let's celebrate the fact that black don't crack and you can't hold us back. As the saying goes, living black ain't easy, but being black sure feels good. Excuse me, y'all. My name is Lynn. Do you know who invented the fountain pen? William P. Purvis, 1890. I was born a Leo. That makes me a lion. I'm glad I got an ironing board so I can iron. Sarah Boone, 1862. Check out a hound dog's ears. See how they flip-flop? I bet you that's how they invented the mop. T.W. Stewart, 1893. Some call me the professor, and I know who invented the push lawnmower. J.A. Burr, 1899. I got a friend. They call him Big Red, and he could tell you who invented the folding bed. Leonard C. Bailey, 1899. Hang your clothes on a clothesline wire or use the invention, the clothes dryer. G.T. Sampson, 1892. When I get old, I will have made a mint, and I'll probably be using liniment. Snow and Johns, 1890. I don't think there's anything greater than the man who invented the refrigerator, J. Stanford, 1881. Come on, y'all. Let's make a deal. I'll bet you all a sofa meal that you can't tell me who invented the envelope seal. F.W. Leslie in 1897. You just yak, 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 'cause you don't want to be alone. Ain't you glad we got the cell phone? Henry T. Sampson, 1971. You like The Matrix and The Terminator? Both so good they tried to exterminate her. Sophia Stewart, 1981. Hold it, that's enough. I'm tired of all that beatbox stuff. Did you know that the bike frame was invented by I.R. Johnson? The electric lamp was invented by Lattimore and Nichols in 1881. The egg beater by Willis Jackson in 1884. The pencil sharpener was invented by John Lee Love in 1897. I bet you didn't know that George E. Grant invented the golf tee. And Albert A. Johnson invented the bottle cap. Dr. Daniels performed the world's first open heart surgery. I don't mean to be rude, but I'll catch you later. I got to talk to a man about his elevator. A. Miles, 1887. I was just thinking about all the inventions we haven't even talked about. Like an ice cream mold, peanut butter, kitchen table, the gas burner, shoe sole, curtain rod, cotton gin, street sweeper, rotary engine, stoplights, gas max, lawn sprinkling, horseshoes, motor, gas burner, railroad switch, lawn mower, railroad signals, chamber commode, fire extinguisher, fire escape ladder, air conditioner unit, just to name a few. Well, all I can say is all of these inventions were invented by black men and women. Boy, what an amazing world we live in a world where we can use our minds and our abilities to build a better world for all of us to live in. It's time to celebrate, y'all. Celebrate our greatness. Thank you.
Please welcome our next poet and storyteller, Monique Franklin, also known as Verbal Oasis. Monique is a poet and teaching artist. Her poetry gives voice to social issues, human relationships, tributes to her many influences and self-discovery. In 2014, she was selected for Four Cultures Touring Artist Roster and the CD Forum's Creation Project. Monique is the owner and operator of Inspired Child, an arts organization that has been providing arts events for youth and families since 2006. Monique.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, always amongst the company of the African American Writers Alliance. And I appreciate the library for creating this space for us. On the theme of celebration, I have a couple of poems to share. The first is a celebration of hair. Her afro is round, full of power. There must be a billion curls all curling down, spiraling around her afro. Her afro has bounce back from anything. Life can't tarnish her illustrious crown sitting on top of her pretty brown head. It is real and resilient. She doesn't know it, but her fro has that perfect hold. Pat it down and watch it go. Her natural soul mocks the wind. Her hair is cocoa brown thick. Looks better than those perfectly round afro wigs with the pick. Her hair is tight. I tell her in any way I can. I let her know, girl, that afro you got is solid gold. Thank you, thank you. This next couple of pieces I'm going to share, I actually had the wonderful opportunity to take a healing trip to St. Lucia, and I wrote these. This is a celebration of clouds. Clouds are beautiful water transportation devices. Gray to any color of the world has to offer, reflecting Black beauty of every facet. A single cloud can be both earth and sky, ocean and moon, sun. All the clouds are playing follow the leader, riding the flow. They are going just to go. So slow, it doesn't seem forced, but willed. I've never seen a cloud break formation. I've never seen a cloud trying to peek back there like, where did we come from? Wherever all the other clouds come from, beyond the hills and mountains. I wonder if over the ocean, cloud sees its own reflection, if it's yearning to tumble and turn and flip with power to move, or if the ocean wants to elevate and leave behind the salt of the earth and rise. Water lives many lives, like fresh and grounded, falling and floating, traveling, worshiping and trickling, flooding, rising, greeting, retreating, flowing, motion, still, solid and chill. I'm grateful to witness your transformations. I'm blessed to be a bottled cloud, a walking ocean, a peaceful iceberg, a dancing hurricane. I'm blessed to begin again and never lose the essence of who I am. This next piece is called A Celebration of Breath. It's also a poem that was written in St. Lucia. My breath shares a rhythm with the waves. It sounds like water pulling and pushing the shore, flowing in and out of my body, a symphony of filling and emptying. I notice that there are soloists in the world competing with this simple orchestra of the lungs. Birds chirping, hammers swinging percussion, inner thoughts forming on the top of waves of oxygen as I send it out to sea, far away from me, as I exhale, leaving me to be with me, leaving me to be with each breath, with each new moment of nothing. With each blank canvas, I learn the lesson of renewal. I live the lesson of choosing emptiness so I can choose to be full. I'm wrapped in the harmony of all my cells being nurtured and loved and healed and prepared for the greatness that is this day, that is this breath, that is this breath, that is the next. Awesome. This is, I've been working on a play for the last 8 years almost, called Mama's Muse. And it's very exciting. I'm going to be producing it, a full version of it this fall. We're trying to set the dates with the CD form, end of October, beginning of November. So this next piece is a celebration of mothers from Mama's Muse. Mamas wake up early after going to bed late. Mamas educate, not just her own, but a whole nation. So she can later cry tears of prouds and crowds at graduations. Mama knows angels who act like hell. Mama work a full-time job and sometimes two, raising kids, working and going to school to put her passion in priority. Mamas do what they got to do. Mama is a multitasker, queen of excellence, detail manager. Mama could go to the moon and she would report back on the facts that NASA has missed, like the difference between a twinkling star and a crying one. Some mamas are grandmamas and then mamas again. Mamas make apple bottom cakes and piñatas. She is short on excuses and tall on projects. She is addicted to getting that good deal. Mamas are generous. Grumpy mamas can be dangerous. I repeat, grumpy mamas can be dangerous. More dangerous than approaching a pride alliance in a zebra costume. Mamas are people too. Bold and scared, lonely and brilliant, sacrificing and selfish, flawed and favored. Mamas come in all kinds of flavors, and that's the truth. However, no one can do what mamas do. Thank you. This last piece that I'm going to share, let me make sure I'm telling the truth. It is the last piece. Oh, it's the second to last piece. Okay. As an artist and as a celebration, like in the Black community, in African tradition, there's none of that without music. And so this next piece is a bit of a celebration of overcoming, but also just in the metaphor, a celebration of jazz music. So I hope you enjoy it. This is called Heaven Is Me. Heaven is me, swinging from Duke to Basie, from star to star. I tried to do it, that duet, but I got tired of covering up scars, so I soloed outside of his ragtime composition, a cage made of bars. Hailed Cap Calloway, the driver of my getaway car. Those big band born hip cats allowed me to leave that riffraff on a high note that spoke, I ain't your pitch. We finished. I sailed away in my musicianship undiminished. My solo debut imbued my bass with hues unabused. My tune wasn't all blues. I was brand new and feeling Nina Simone good too. Now I'm a smooth walking bass line. I'm plucking with no regrets, living my life upright with no frets. Stepwise, I am giant steps from a time when I was too shy to shine. I find perfection in Ella's voice, intimately imitating any instrument of her choice while scatting How High the Moon. I don't know about you, but I plan to continue to find myself inside great performers. My latest muse? That brother over there blowing his horn on the corner, you see him, don't you? He moves music. Tones played and punched with body jives and jumps. Sounds seem to live and die on his fluid flesh. He is the surface of the sun, hot and glowing. This jitterbugging musician is a magician tugging sound out of fat air. Music hung out to dry. He plucks notes from the closing line and then throws them at the crowd as if to say, there, try that on. And it fits perfectly. As he arches his stanza, he bends his back, birthing notes. His labor pains are painted plain in contorted facial arrangements. It is purely possible that he could play without an instrument. But no, he is the instrument played from the inside out. Hey. All right, this is the last one, if that's all right. I mentioned jazz earlier. Sometimes my poems end up being remade as like new poems, and I call it like poetry jazz, right? So you have these different poems and someone says, will you make a poem about this? And you know, I have about 5 poems about that already. Let me pull a line here and a theme here, and then it becomes a new kind of poem. So this poem has grown in that way. It started off as like 3 or 4 different poems, and now it's become its own piece of jazz that kind of alludes to other pieces. But this is a celebration of the power of women of African descent. Before I had a name or a form, I existed, a creative force, love untethered at my essence. I am a high priestess, deity, a goddess divine, an ancient warrior reincarnated, transcending time. My spirit is as tall as the universe is wide. I am the ages unfolding into eternity. I am the sacred soul that birthed every ancient ancestor of humankind. I'm the sacred soil enriched with the memory of their voices, impregnated with their intellectual remains. I am so strong, my roots traveled under the ocean and deserts and mountains. Humanity in its infancy was a beautiful, brilliant Black child. They were my children. My children were the forebearers of thought, the developers of science, the inventors of technology, the architects of society, the explorers of spirituality, the curators of culture, and the producers of art. My stride is always accompanied by ancestors. I never walk alone. My counsel is sought. My wisdom and will, when spoken, is born. I am born to lead and to liberate. My choices in my life are deliberate. As I have whispered life at the dawn of every civilization, I am a queen, purposeful, powerful, irreplaceable, beautiful, relevant, passionate, loving, and sacrificing. A genuine genius, me. I build communities. I am unity. I am the divine mother. I am the more in your veins, the rhythm in your soul, calling you home, whispering to you from a distant shore. You are great. You are powerful. You are the divine one, calling you to be great, calling you to continue to create, to be world makers, calling you to continue to educate, to elucidate the truth, to take action. I am a daughter, a sister, a friend, a lover, an auntie, and then a mother. In this life, I know who I am. I am the keeper of nations. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Monique. Oh, wonderful. Oh, thank you so much. Now, closing out tonight's storytelling is Kathia Alexander. Kathia is a writer, teaching artist, and an award-winning actor and storyteller. Her play, Homegoing, was chosen for residency at Hedgebrook Women's Writers Retreat, and her play, Black to My Roots, African American Tales from the Head and the Heart, won the Edinburgh Festival Fringe First Award in Edinburgh, Scotland, for Outstanding New Production. Kathia.
Thank you. So the title of my poem is The Wedding. I want Mandy to be at my wedding, Evelyn say to my mama. She in our living room. I want her to be a junior bridesmaid when I get married this coming June. And what is all of this gonna cost me? My mama say. Evelyn answered her back. Just buy the dress, Evelyn say to mama, and I'll take care of everything else. Everything else, my mama say. What else is it for you to get? I'll get the socks and bows and shoes. I want to make sure that everything matches. I hear Miss Wendy say to my mama that she think Evelyn trying to act too uppity, trying to put on airs with this fancy wedding, like Evelyn is not one of them Thompsons. Mr. Thompson is Oz's most pitiful drunk. He gets so drunk he cannot stand. I done seen him fall down in the ditch. That always make Carol Jean and Beverly Ann real shame when he do stuff like that. Everybody in school tease them about him, but they laugh at Mr. Thompson themselves. What else you gonna do when you got him for a daddy? I hope he don't even come to the wedding, Carol Jane told me. She was sitting in my tree. She liked to climb trees like I do. Sometimes she go even higher than me. But I don't care if Mr. Thompson come to the wedding if he sit down somewhere like he know how to act. When he ain't drunk, he just sit in his bedroom. So at the wedding, I hope he act like that. But Evelyn's mama, Miss Thompson, she is so nice. I already seen the dress that Evelyn get her. It's the dusty color of a pale pink rosebud, and it's got a lot of antique lace all over it. I can't wait to see my dress. I get so excited when Evelyn described it. She say the lace on the top, the same color as Miss Thompson, and she say I gotta wear a petticoat up under it. I love wearing petticoats. My mama don't like it. She say when I wear my flounce around too much, just cause I like to spin around in a circle and make my pretty dress flare out. My wedding colors are dark and light pink. The dresses are on hold downtown at Blast. They're the prettiest things. Mandy, you're gonna love it. It's got an empire waist and a pink satin sash. This wedding, the biggest thing Oz done ever seen. Most people marry at home when they get married. Jake and Dara got married on our front porch. It was pretty and all, but it was still a small wedding. Evelyn, she get married down to St. Luke at the church to a man named Kendall Ray Livingston. His family is from somewhere up north. I think maybe Flint or maybe Detroit. Kendall, he is in the Army. He drive a Mustang and his family rich. His daddy worked for General Motors. And when he get out the Army, he gonna work there himself. Evelyn, she got 20 people who is a part of her wedding party. It's 3 bridesmaids and 3 junior bridesmaids, plus a best man and a matron of honor. She got a boy to walk with every girl, but she got 2 flower girls and only 1 ring bearer. And she got the same dress as Jackie Kennedy had, except Miss Kennedy's was long and Evelyn's ankles is showing. She even got the same 5-tier wedding cake. And they gonna even have champagne to drink. I ain't never seen nobody have champagne at their wedding. I only seen that in weddings that be on TV. The whole long week before the wedding, I've been helping Carol and Beverly make the decorations. We put some rice in a piece of pink lace, and then we make some tissue paper carnations. The rice is for people to throw at the wedding. Mama say the rice is for good luck. Everybody gonna get a little rice sack. After we put the rice in the lace, we tie it up with a little piece of pink satin ribbon. Evelyn even got pink mints and pink frappe. That's what people gonna have at the reception. She gonna hold it down in St. Luke's basement. She even got the same wedding song that Jackie Kennedy had at her wedding. Miss Victoria is singing I Married an Angel for Evelyn and Kendall for their first dance. Evelyn gonna put the tissue paper carnations on the end of each one of the pews. And she gonna put some white lace all around the paper flowers. I told Dorothy Jane I was going to collect them all after the wedding is over and use them in a wedding for my dolls. My favorite is my colored wedding doll. She looked like a chocolate princess who is dressed for a ball. I wonder if Mom gonna let me wear my hair down. I can see in my mind how pretty I'll be. I wonder if she gonna let me straighten it. I ain't never had my hair straightened before, but I think this is the perfect time. But Mama probably gonna put it in a ponytail. I guess that's still better than me wearing plaits. Mama treat me like a baby, and I'm 10 years old. I love the socks that Evelyn picked out. They got a puffy ring of lace that go around the ankle, and she got us all black patent leather shoes that have a rhinestone buckle on them. When I get dressed on the day of the wedding, Mama let my sister do my hair. Sissy pulled my hair back from off my face and clamped the top with a shiny pink barrette, and she just let it fall down my back. She used water and grease to make it curly. I ain't never got to wear my hair down before, except that one time in the professional picture that I took to show off the dress that Miss Emily got me one year for Easter. That dress was pink too, just like my dress for the wedding, but it had pink flowers on it with green velvet ribbons. When Evelyn walked in the church that day of the wedding, she's so pretty as she walked down the aisle on Mr. Thompson's arm. He dressed in a suit and everything. I ain't never seen him in a suit before because Mr. Thompson don't go to church. He the only person in us who do not go. Even drunk Miss Rose, she go to church. Mr. Thompson looked like he feel real comfortable, but he ain't drunk. That's the good thing. He walked Evelyn down the aisle without falling down. Evelyn got a big smile on her face, just like she got a regular daddy. Everything go off without a hitch. Evelyn even changed into another dress when she leave to go on her honeymoon. I think she say they going to Cancun. That's a place in Mexico. I ain't never know nobody who went on a honeymoon before. When my brother Jay got married to Dara, they just moved in our house into their own bedroom. I got to leave right after the reception because Mom and Daddy got to go to church. So I don't get to collect the tissue paper flowers. I asked my mama if she would let me go in the sanctuary while the reception is going on, but she just say, quit acting so silly. I try to tell her about my doll wedding and everything, but she too busy talking to Miss Wendy. All the people in the wedding party have to sit at a table in front of everybody else, so I can't even sneak out or nothing. And then I see old nasty Dorothy Jane with all the paper flowers in her hand when she go and get into their car. She hold them up so I can see them in the window when we all pulling out of the parking lot. Dorothy Jane, she stick her tongue out at me. I shouldn't have never said nothing to her about it. She mad anyway because she wasn't in the wedding, so she just doing this to try to break my heart. I slink down in the back seat of the car. My mama asked me, what is the matter? I know better than to say anything about the flowers, so I just grunt and tell her nothing. You got the dress, you got to wear your hair down, and still you is not satisfied. Mama say to me on our way to the church. I don't say nothing. She don't understand. Now I can't have my colored wedding doll wedding. I feel a tear run down my face. I know you ain't sitting back there crying. Leave her alone, my daddy say. My daddy was the one who married Evelyn because he a preacher, but not at St. Luke. He look at me through the rearview mirror. He say, you look just like a pink angel today. That's what my daddy say. That make me smile. We get on the highway to go to Little Rock. My daddy humming, I married an angel, and holding on to my mama's arm. Thank you.
Oh, wow. In the story. That's where you always put us, right in the story. Thank you, Ms. Kathia. And thank you to all of our poets and storytellers this evening.